Good morning, story time from your bougie wannabe farmer. How did we end up in the suburbs of Nashville? Well, Mike works for himself. He's self-employed as a financial advisor. And I was virtual. Our oldest was across the country from us. Again, we were still living in like the Scottsdale area in Arizona. And she was still at University of Wisconsin-Madison. On Wisconsin, go Badgers. And our youngest was at a residential treatment facility for some mental health. And Bio Mom did live in Arizona, so it's not like we left with nothing there, but so I realized I really just could not handle the summers in Arizona. As a middle-aged female, we don't really need any extra help with body heat. We don't. We're hot all the time. All the fucking time. And so I don't know how it came about exactly, but like the timing was right and the opportunity to leave the house we were in came about, and I said to Mike, why don't we just move like to Tennessee? I'm from the Midwest. I missed Midwest values. I missed a lot of things. But I didn't really want to be back in like Illinois between politics and taxes, politics, it was not going to be I had zero desire to be back in Illinois. And Mike's from Long Island. He really had no desire to. We had always said we were never going to move back to either of our home states because of a lot of reasons. Not family. It had nothing to do with family that we wouldn't live in our home states. It definitely was other reasons. But anyway, so, kind of the opportunity came up. I was virtual for American Express, and I said, let's move to the Nashville area. And he actually didn't really have to think about it too long. I mean, he was concerned about leaving his clients in Arizona, but as with a lot of things, COVID showed us that you can do a ton of things without having to be face to face. I really wish companies would still realize that instead of forcing everybody to go back to office, but that's a whole different topic. So it didn't take long to make that decision. And so I sent Mike out to Nashville because I couldn't take the extra time off. Plus, I stayed back with the dogs. So he looked at some properties, some homes, whatever. We totally thought we were going to end up in Franklin or Brentwood, given where we were currently living. And no. I happened to have a few houses that I wanted Mike to look at in Mount Juliet, and so he did. And one of them, I said, can you go back to that house again? I don't know, I kind of like it. And we had already decided we were going to rent. I would tell anybody to do that. Do not buy a house in an area you've never lived in, because that's just silliness. So anyway, he went back. I liked the house. We submitted our application for it. Obviously, we were approved. And less than a couple months later, we moved our whole lives from Arizona to the Nashville suburbs. And I can honestly say it was the best decision ever for my mental health, for our marriage, even for our oldest, who has decided that she doesn't want to live back in Arizona.
Hazard reported ahead.
And while she obviously is still a decent distance from us, it is a drivable distance, you know. So she really likes the Midwest. So I'm super excited about that. And somewhere along the way, then we kind of fell in love with like the country farm-ish lifestyle. I always had wanted to live on a more of a hobby farm. I never really wanted to have a working farm. I don't want working livestock, at least as of now. I don't know if that'll ever change. I don't think so, but so that kind of just living in Mount Juliet gives us like every option possible. We are at the airport in 20 minutes. We can be downtown Nashville in 20-25 minutes, and yet we have farm life all around us. We're currently in the process of trying to figure out what we're going to do as far as a farm for us. Do we buy land and build? Do we buy an old farmhouse and fix it up? I kind of would rather have that, but regardless, like Mike's never lived through a new construction build. It's a whole different beast. So we just have to figure it out, but I think I need to get employed first, I guess. I think banks typically like it. So that was a really boring description, but I guess I'm just boring, of how we moved from Arizona to the Nashville suburbs. But honestly, even talking about it, it's actually calming. Like, it's the craziest thing how much our lives have changed by moving out here, for the better. It's a slower pace of life, and not like slow, like, it's just, I've never waved to so many people in my life. Everybody waves out here. You talk to your neighbors right away. I mean, it's just such a great, like, environment. And again, Mike and I being empty nesters, and thankfully we do love country music. We loved it way before we moved here. We have the ability to do so many cool things out here that we never would do if we lived in Arizona. And living in Arizona, you have the benefit of, like, you can fly to Hawaii much cheaper than most other places. You can drive to Rocky Point, California, Vegas. So now we're kind of exploring this side. You know, again, I'm from Illinois, Mike's from Long Island. We both have seen plenty of the East Coast states, but Mike and I love to road trip, so we get to just road trip to other areas that we get to experience together now. So for anybody contemplating moving to the Nashville area, I mean, if you want a fun but still kind of relaxing pace of life with really nice humans everywhere, well, I can't speak for Davidson County. I don't really know much. I mean, we go to Nashville proper, obviously, but like I don't really know, you know, how friendly they all are, I guess, if you live there. But where we live and some other areas are great, so I would tell anybody to move. The Nashville natives will tell you not to do it because it's getting really crowded out here. But that's just life, and that's how find me a suburb or a city that has some, cool shit going on that hasn't just completely, blown up. If it can be, I guess, obviously, because like Chicago really can't get much bigger. It's pretty big. But although it is crazy, Mike and I have lived here for just over 3 years now, and we feel like we must sound like old people, like natives, because on a regular basis, in the 3 years we've lived here, we'll drive by something and say, oh my God, that wasn't there before. I don't know when we became those people, but really that's how much growth we've seen in 3 years in Mount Juliet. So yeah, it's booming out here. Property taxes are dirt cheap. Don't let anybody that's from here tell you differently, because if you are like Mike and I, and again, come from high tax states, these taxes feel like they're free. Like, I mean, it's stupid how cheap, at least in Wilson County, and I think, I don't know how like Rutherford is, but there's some other counties too that are, I mean, it's so cheap. Like, it's ridiculous. You could get a house out here for $500,000 that first of all would go for $750,000 or more in plenty of other areas, and the taxes here might just be $3,000 a year. That's not happening in Illinois or New York, anywhere. So I like it. I like that I can get up to see my family in a 7.5-hour drive. But we're far enough south, we don't get horrible winters. It's pretty much the best. And I'm just so grateful that Mike took the chance and decided, okay, we're moving to Tennessee. So I'll do another story time later.